Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our college visit series. We are very excited to have Bridgewater College with us today. And Jesse Bartley, an admissions counselor with Bridgewater, is going to be sharing information with us about their wonderful campus and programs and everything that they have to offer there. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Jesse Bartley. Thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you for having me, Miss Corbin. I'm happy to be able to talk all about Bridgewater. I myself just graduated from Bridgewater in May 2020, so pretty recent graduate myself. I'm from this area. I'm from about 30 minutes away from Bridgewater. I was a business administration major and a coaching minor, and I was a student athlete as well. I played on the golf team. So being on the golf team, we play in both the fall and spring. So I was pretty busy pretty much the whole year, but I love my time at Bridgewater and now I get to talk about it every day. So if for some reason my slides disappear, please let me know and I'll try to pull those back up. But I always like to do a little bit of a map just so you can get a feel for where Bridgewater is in the state of Virginia. We're about 10 or so minutes from Harrisonburg. James Madison University is about 10 minutes north of us. We're right by 81, so you can get to Richmond in about 2 hours. So you can get to DC in about a little over 2 hours, 2.5. Definitely add more time with traffic and how crazy that can be. But like I said, I'm from this area. If you like to do anything outdoors, hiking, fishing, anything like that, Bridgewater is definitely the perfect area for you to do all of those things. As far as an overview of Bridgewater, our total enrollment for this year was right around 1,600 students, and you'll see the breakdown of our student body there. A third of our students are NCAA athletes, so if we have any athletes out there, definitely make sure that you're reaching out to the coaches directly, sending your highlight tapes, everything like that, and that way they can connect with you there. I put our mid-50 GPA and test scores on that slide as well. We are test optional, but I'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on. But I know some students are interested in that information, so I put that on there just for you to have as a reference. As far as academics go, over 50 majors and minors for you to choose from. The top 5 are listed there. Business administration, that's what I was a part of. Biology, health and exercise science, psychology, and then the liberal studies major. Those interested in education, liberal studies will most likely be the major that you end up going with. We do have 4 graduate programs here at Bridgewater. They're all fairly new. The athletic training had just started. That's the oldest one, and it had just started my freshman year. So that's still, 4 or 5 years old. And then the others have sort of taken place after that. What's cool about our graduate programs are the professors that teach your undergrad also teach your graduate programs. So if you were to come and say do health and exercise science as your major, and you decide to do the athletic training program here at Bridgewater, you would have the same professors that you had for health and exercise science for athletic training. So that's awesome there that you're gonna get to know those professors. Our average class size is 19. So definitely if you're looking for a small school, a place where professors will get to know you, you'll get to know other students in your class, everything like that. That's one thing that I knew that I really wanted in a college. I didn't look at any colleges where the class size was over, 25 students. I knew that I wanted the professor to know who I was, and I wanted to be able to meet other students instead of being in a lecture hall with 1,000 other students that I never got to meet. There are professors that I had my freshman year, first semester, I had them that one time for that one class that still know me. I'll be walking around campus and we'll see each other and we'll stop and have a conversation. They're all the time asking about golf and everything like that. So just having that personal connection is awesome. It definitely builds on the community for sure. And that was one thing that I really liked about Bridgewater. As far as resident life and dining go, there's 2 things on this slide that are probably different from other colleges that you've probably heard from or maybe have visited. As far as resident life goes, Bridgewater is fully residential. So what that means is all 4 years you would be expected to live right here on campus. I like that because you don't have to worry about a lease. You don't have to worry about finding roommates. You don't have to worry about a commute or grocery shopping or cooking dinner every night. It's all already taken care of for you. So usually the first 2 years, students live in a resident hall. And then after that, you can move to an apartment on campus. The cottages are small houses sort of scattered around the perimeter of the college. Those usually house about 8 to 10 students, depending on which cottage you end up in. In Stone Village, those are more like larger apartments, kind of like condos, hardwood floors, nice countertops, full kitchen, everything like that in Stone Village. But like I said, usually students live in a dorm the first 2 years, and then after that you can move out to apartments, cottages. You can decide to live in a residence hall all 4 years if you'd like to. One of the other admissions counselors, we both just graduated and are both now admissions counselors. She lived in a resident hall all 4 years with the same roommate. That's just what they liked, and they had their room and their section of the hall, and they just really liked it there. So it's totally up to you. AC in the residences, so you don't have to worry about getting too hot. Even up to a couple weeks ago, it was still in the 60s and 70s here at Bridgewater. So it's nice to come back to a room that's air conditioned. Free laundry, so you don't have to worry about paying for laundry or anything like that. Of course, you have Wi-Fi. A big thing is you can have your car all 4 years on campus. That was a big thing for me when I was looking at colleges. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I was set on having my car freshman year. But what's nice about that is if you decide to not bring a car, since everyone can bring one, you're definitely going to know a bunch of people that have their car. So if you decide not to, you shouldn't have any problem finding rides or, going to Walmart, anything like that. The next big thing that's probably different from other colleges, Bridgewater has one dining hall and one meal plan, and that's unlimited. So you can come and go out of the dining hall as many times as you like. It's pretty convenient when you're running from, class to practice to, whatever it may be that you're running in between. You can just run in, get a banana, run back out, and then run back in, 20 minutes later and get more food. There is a to-go option that we already had in place before COVID. I definitely took advantage of it my junior and senior year, just because I found I was going a bunch of different places, and it's just kind of nice to go into the dining hall, get your to-go box, take it back to your dorm and watch Netflix or a game or whatever you may be doing. So it's nice there. But the unlimited dining, like I said, to be able to come and go is pretty convenient. And you don't have to worry about keeping up with how many swipes you've used or having to buy more, halfway through the semester. Next is student life. So over 60 clubs and organizations for you to join. Intramurals are pretty big on campus. Everything from, you'll see in the picture there, sand volleyball, flag football, bowling, badminton, basketball, free throw competitions, cornhole, anything you can think of. They'll turn it to an intramural sport. Campus engagement activities team, they host a free event every week or weekend for students. That could be bingo, trivia is pretty big. They usually host those quite a bit. Movie nights, they also host Spring Fest, which is like our spring carnival. Right before spring finals, they bring in a bunch of inflatables. They have live music with a band. Vendors come out, food, goat yoga has been a hit. The president and all the vice presidents did a session of goat yoga, so everyone got to watch that. That was pretty fun. But like I said, anything that students are interested in, all you have to do is pitch your idea to Student Life, and they'll see if they can make that happen. A student a couple years ago pitched to them Battleship. So in our athletic facility, we actually have our own pool. The college rented out canoes, and it was 4 students per canoe, and literally with buckets and lids and whatever they could find, they were trying to sink the other canoes. And it was like a last boat standing is the winner type thing. I went to it, every year that I was a student, and it was pretty entertaining. I never participated, but it was great to go watch. And that was an intramural, so whoever won that, they got t-shirts, and that's definitely one of the bigger events, in my opinion, is Battleship, and that's something they continue to do each year now. So that's pretty cool that was student driven. That just kind of came up with the idea to go from there. Next is athletics. We're a Division III school, part of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. 23 NCAA teams, equestrian, cheerleading. One thing that was just announced today is we're starting a marching band. So anyone interested in marching band, please feel free to check out our website to learn more about that. It was just released today that that's what we're starting. So I wanted to put that in there to let you guys know that 11 national championships coming out of Bridgewater. Great athletic program, great athletic facility. I love my time as a D3 athlete. With Division III, you can have it all. You get to play your sport, compete in your athletics. I got to fly, got to go to all sorts of cool places. I still got to have a social life, and I still got to do well academically. So D3 definitely gives you a good balance to be able to manage all of that. Next is financial aid. So I said I'm from this area. Bridgewater was on my list of schools, but I kind of wanted to get away, but I knew I wanted to go to a small school. So a lot of times small schools, private schools. Private schools, a lot of times people think that's going to be crazy expensive. I know my dad and I did. So a lot of the schools that I looked at were private schools in the state of Virginia, and Bridgewater was the most expensive, but after my financial aid, it was the cheapest for me to attend out of like 5 other private schools in the state. So that was definitely a big part of my decision to come to Bridgewater. Of course, I had a few other reasons, but I loved my time, but definitely financial aid was a big part of that decision for me. There's 3 types of aid available to you. The first there is institutional aid. The merit scholarships there, that's money given out by the college based off of your merit, so your GPA. So essentially, the higher your GPA, the more money you're eligible to receive there. We do have the Church of the Brethren grant as well. If you're a part of the Church of the Brethren, you could also get that. Next is going to be the state aid, so the VTAG. I'm sure your counselors have been talking to you about that. It's usually $3,400, $3,500. It varies really a little bit by each year. But that's like a 2-3 page form. If you live in the state of Virginia and you attend a Virginia private college, you're eligible for the VTAG. And then next is going to be the FAFSA. So if you're a senior out there, definitely look at filling out the FAFSA. You never know what kind of assistance you may get with the FAFSA. That's all need-based, so that's based off of your family's tax information. I'm not going to lie to you, it can be tedious. It can be a long, stressful process. I know it was for me, but I will say if you run into any questions, contact the financial aid office. They work with that form daily. I remember as a student when we were filling it out, my dad and I, we were totally lost. And I remember calling them, and within like 10 minutes, they helped me fix what we were doing wrong and get everything correct. So the 3 types of aid there. But like I said, Bridgewater does a great job of making sure they can make college affordable. Like I said, in my personal experience, Bridgewater was the most expensive, but it was the cheapest after my financial aid. So you'll see there 99% of our students receive aid. 28,000 was the average aid given for this current year. And then down at the bottom, you see the pie chart. The first year scholarships and grant aid packages, 75% of our students receive more than $30,000. So that's awesome there. Definitely a lot of money out there. I'll also say with financial aid, and Ms. Corbin, you might be able to speak on this, as I know my high school had in the guidance office like a list of scholarships that community members gave out, or the school gave out, or whatever it may be. There's probably a couple businesses in your area that give out scholarships. So even if they're $50, $100, $200, whatever it may be, I used that money my first year to pay for my books. So every little bit helps for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, we have a senior scholarship application in Hanover County. So our students that are seniors can fill out one application and they're in the pool for lots of different scholarships.
Oh yeah, that's awesome to just fill out the one and then you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I definitely recommend any seniors out there. Like I said, every little bit helps. I used that to pay for my books, and then I didn't have to pay for books, after that. So that's awesome. As far as admissions, there's 2 ways to apply to Bridgewater. The first is the Bridgewater app or the Common App. They're both free. No teacher recommendation, no essay, nothing like that is required. I said I would talk a little bit more about test optional. So we are going to be test optional now. I think a bunch of other colleges have also jumped on the test optional train with the COVID happening and everything like that. Everyone's schedule has shifted quite a bit, I think, from last year at this time. So to just take away your stress of having to worry about finding a test or retaking a test, we just decided to go with test optional there. When you're filling out your application, you just have to mark whether or not you're planning to submit test scores or if you're planning to go test optional. We are rolling admission, so once you submit your application and get that completed, we review applications every day. So with rolling admission, you'll guaranteed to have your decision back within 2 weeks. So pretty quick turnaround there. The supplemental items there, how your application is marked complete, is to 1, have your application submitted, and then those tests, your transcript or your test scores, if you wish to apply with those supplemental items, to have those into us. And that is all that I have. I put my contact information on there. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. A quick question. So our students that are applying and it's rolling admissions, is there a certain deadline they need to have their application in by in order to be considered for scholarships?
Yeah, so the sooner the better is what I would say. There's no real deadline. We did have an early action deadline that ended in November, but with rolling admission, like I said, we're still reviewing applications every day. But if you're sort of in between whether or not to submit an application, go ahead and apply. There's no fee or anything like that, so it's a pretty easy process to get that done.
Great, thank you. And if we have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question. Feel free. All
I will
right.
say what, or
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say one question that I got asked at one of my other high school visits was, what do students do when there's no class, or maybe there's a holiday and maybe students are still on campus or whatever. The town of Bridgewater is about 6,000 residents, so a small town. Of course, Harrisonburg is right down the road, but as far as in the town, everything is within walking distance, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about getting in your car, catching the bus, or anything like that. There's 5 parks in the town of Bridgewater, like I said, all within a mile of campus. One of them, Wildwood Park, has a pretty nice waterfall where students like to go. Hammocking is pretty popular. There's an ice skating rink that I think just opened, or they're about to open. That's free for students to use. Let's see, there's par 3 putt-putt course all within a mile of campus that students like to use. That's free as well. So a lot of times we would, throw our clothes in the laundry, go down, play putt-putt, and then come back, and we'd be back in time to, switch our stuff over. So everything in town is pretty easy to get to. There's restaurants that, give discounts to Bridgewater students and everything like that. So it's just a great area, really strong community and everything like that. That's one thing that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to know. I know students are always curious of what the area is like and, what's it going to be like to live there for 4 years. So that's really good information.
Yeah.
And students that have questions can reach out to you directly?
Yep, they can reach out to me directly. I work directly with you all, your area in Fredericksburg. So yeah, if you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really great information, and I'm sure we'll be in touch, with other questions as our students are applying. So thank you.
Yep, sounds good. Our campus is open for campus visitors right now as well. So if you guys want to come visit campus, please feel free to do so.
Wonderful.